the physical and the spiritual. Man is meant to dance to the tune of spirits. Man is meant to bring to reality the will and the mind of spirits. Man is meant to reflect a will of a spirit. Paul, by the Spirit of God, is telling us that to whom whatsoever you yield yourself to obey, you have become such influences or influencers servant. You have become such spirit servants, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness. Meaning, anything you do at all on earth is actually a reflection of a will of a spirit that you are in constant partnership or fellowship with. Man does not do anything of his own accord. If it is the flesh that sponsors it, it's actually a will or the norm of a spirit that is regulating man to act in such manner or such way. Can I show you something from Genesis chapter 3? In chapter 2, God warned a man against the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That of that they should not eat. Meaning of the tree of life they could eat. But another being came on the scene and seduced man to obey his will and do his bidding. And man, out of ignorance, fell to the whisperings of darkness, the devil, and became a servant to the will of these spirits. Satan, I'm talking about. He said, have thou been warned not to eat of these? And Eve ignorantly responded. And at the end of the day, they ate the fruits. They eating this fruit, meaning they have actually brought to book or reality a will, the norm of a spirit. Satan rebelled against God. And he brought that rebellion onto man's environment. And man also, on account of his obedience to the devil, also rebelled against God. So, what they did in Eden is actually a reflection of the will of the devil. It was Satan that seduced and beguiled them, and they did that. So whatsoever man does is actually a will or the will of a spirit that man has yielded himself unto. Man was created to be able to download God on earth, or to be able to bring to manifestation the will of God on earth. That's why Jesus in Matthew chapter 6, when he was teaching on the Lord's Prayer, he said, when thou prayest, say, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. He said, thy kingdom come. It is man that does that. Secondly, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. God's will can never be done on earth unless man commands it into reality, or unless man prays the will of God down into manifestation. As mighty as God is, God can never do anything until man aligns himself with the very will of God in order to traffic the will of God and command it into reality or into manifestation. Ezekiel 22 verse 30, he said, I sought for a man among them, that he may stand up between my nation and myself, to make up the hedge. He said, yet I found none. So as mighty as God is, there was nothing he could do until he is able to find a man that can mediate between him and the physical world, so that his agenda can find expression in our domain here called earth. Can I show you another example? God promised the Israelites that that's Abraham, that of a truth, of a certainty, his seeds will be in slavery, in exile, in another land, in a strange land, 400 years. And he told them that after the 400 years, he will bring them out of this bondage. But you and I know the truth. They were in Egypt not for 400 years, till 430 years. What happened? Does that make God a liar? Never. He said that God is not a man that he should lie. God is never a liar. And whatsoever he told Abraham does not mean he lied or deceived Abraham. It was because He is God, but yet no man was found worthy or able to discern the timings of God, like the children of Issachar, who were able to know the timings and the seasons. No one was able to find or align with the will of God to traffic what was written in the scrolls before they are being in exile in the land of slavery called Egypt. So they were in exile, they were in slavery for 430 years, 30 years, until a young boy arose called Moses. Bible says when he is come of age, he refused to be called a child, a son of Pharaoh's daughter. The Bible says he abandoned the pleasures of Egypt and he chose to suffer affliction with the people of God, the children of God, than to enjoy the pleasures of Egypt for a season. When Moses did that, having abandoned or turned his back to all pleasures, luxury lives in Egypt, and he encountered God in Horeb. He saw a burning bush, and he was marveled, he was amazed. What kind of bush is this? The bush was full of fire, yet was not burnt. And God never called him. God didn't call Moses when he saw that the bush was burning, until Moses thought again to draw nigh to the burning bush, having purposed in his heart to draw nigh. When he was going out before God called him out of the fire and said, my servant Moses, Moses, the land on which thou standest is a holy land, therefore take up thy slippers. So God never lied. He was looking for a man that could traffic his will. He was looking for a man that could discern the timings. He was looking for a man that could be able to know that this was what was written in the scrolls to our great grandfather Abraham, that we would be in slavery for only 400 years. Until he found that man, Israel was still in slavery. Ephesians 3:20, it tells us that for God is willing to do exceedingly, abundantly, and above all that we ask or think. Not just that, according to the power that worketh in us. There is a power at work in human being. Human being or man does not just do things on its own accord. There is a power at work in man. Always there is a power which is at work in man. It says according to the power that worketh in us.